Dear Microsoft, I believe a number of people, including myself, owe you an apology. It's certainly not easy for me to apologize to anyone, including that fucking YouTube author, go fuck himself. But it seems your influence over Bungie had a far greater impact on video games than people give you credit for. So, I have to apologize for picking on you in recent years, mainly your whole gaming existence. I'm sorry for saying you only care about money, when the fact is, all other companies are just like you and would kick an 80-year-old in the ass for $1. You're all greedy scumbags, and you shouldn't be singled out as the only greedy scumbag. I'm sorry for saying you milked the Halo franchise more than a toddler sucking his mama's tit for some dinner. All franchises at some point have been pimped out to the point their asshole is completely loose. Well, maybe Grand Theft Auto, but Rockstar is actually a competent company in this motherfucker. And I'm sorry for laughing at you when you let Bungie escape your iron grasp of business, much like a communist country, and then turning around and funding Insomniac's next game. But really, who the fuck would have put money on Insomniac making a game rated higher than a Bungie game when they wanted to make the Resistance series the next Halo killer, only for that shit to show glimpses of promise, and then their next game, Fuse, sucked more ass than a game of Pin the Tail on the Hemorrhoid? I don't think anyone could have predicted that. Although, I'm not going to apologize for laughing at you and cursing you out over those stupid-ass Xbox decisions, letting Major Nelson run his mouth about how the consoles are not going to change. That was fucking entertainment. But anyway, that's water under the bridge, and your console sales are proving how stupid that was. But in any event, people owe you an apology for letting Bungie go independent. Under your wisdom and tutelage, Bungie managed to create your console franchise, Halo. And while we can sit here and debate about the good or the bad of that series, whether or not it's overrated or not, there's no denying its popularity and its impact on the gaming industry. Bungie struck lightning in a bottle with that motherfucker. They managed to create an ongoing franchise with a shitload of games, including their trilogy, their prequel, and anything else Master Chief related in this motherfucker. You bought them out in 1999, and back then, that was a pretty damn good idea. And then in 2010, they decided to go independent, only to venture into a partnership with Activision. In just 4 measly years and one piss-poor game, we see that Bungie is not as competent as we thought. It's clear that only you guys were able to put your foot far enough up their asshole to get a top-notch product. Think about this for a second. When you guys ran Bungie, Halo introduced so many unique features that other games have used, stole, or borrowed from. Going into Call of Duty, Battlefield, Resistance, any series you can imagine has taken something from Halo. Regenerating health, custom created multiplayer maps, replay theaters to see your best moments, medals for achieving something amazing, mini maps to see enemies or campaign objectives, vehicle elements mixed in with a first-person shooter. How many other games have taken these ideas? Almost every major franchise has borrowed from these ideas. Now, beyond Halo and Bungie, one thing people don't give you credit for is being one of the highest rated publishers when it comes to gaming scores. A little known fact about Microsoft Publishing is that of the 3 console makers, when it comes to first-party games or second-party games, you guys actually rank ahead of Sony and Nintendo on all of those Metacritic-type websites. It's only a cunt hand's worth of points, but the fact remains, when you're in charge, you beat out your main 2 competitors. Take-Two pretty much kicks everybody's ass, but hey, that's another story. But between Forza, Gears of War, the original Mass Effect, which you funded for BioWare to create the game for you, Halo, Alan Wake, and yes, shitty little games like Fable and Too Human, and no, I'm not including the new Tomb Raider, you bought that shit out, or Minecraft, which you also bought, motherfucker. But your games have been able to hold a slightly higher rating than Sony and Nintendo. So with Activision entering a partnership with your main milk cow, and then Sony dick slapping you across the face using your own timed exclusive ideas against you. Yeah, don't think I wasn't going to bring up Call of Duty, motherfucker. I mean, at this point, you can have that shit, along with those cunts over at Bethesda. I don't feel like yelling at those cocksuckers right now. But anyways, Sony put a hurtin' on your fanboy base. Any Halo player under the age of 20, which is like, what, 90% of your core gamers, felt like they got kicked in the dick when Sony announced they had some exclusive deals in place with Bungie and Destiny. And the game looked amazing 2 years ago. Don't get me wrong about that shit. And I'm not talking this is like a major graze in the balls of the bat or whatnot. I mean, that kick in the dick was like a mule kick to the nutsack of these kids when that deal was announced. Your fans were crying that Bungie was dead to them when they showed up on Sony's stage at that E3 conference. Yet here we are, a few years later, Bungie and Sony have their deal, Activision and Bungie had their deal, and you're only getting scraps from your old studio. Only now we find out that Destiny is overmarketed, overhyped, and generally is a piece of shit. Well, thanks, Activision. And that Bungie either cut content or continues to copy and paste content over and over and over again without actually improving the game. Well, thanks, Bungie. I mean, did you sense this, Microsoft? Did you know that Bungie really wasn't that great of a studio? Was it really the 343 studio split that took all the talent? Or was it something else? I'm going to assume, based on the fact your other series are pretty successful, that you pushed Bungie to make the absolute best Halo products possible. If the game wasn't ready, go back and do it again. If the game wasn't a top-notch game, go back to the drawing board and do it all over again. If the content didn't meet your standards, you were not releasing it. Essentially, this is what a good publisher does. They will not sell something that is half-assed. They want the full ass, not a half-ass. Nothing worse than seeing a chick in a thong, yet all you can see is one cheek. So all your games get top ratings. And it wasn't because only you had good studios, but because you pushed those studios to the limits to make something that you were proud to put your name on and proud to put a price tag next to. With other big developers, Activision, EA, Ubisoft, they don't care at this point. They slap their name on any old garbage and sell that to consumers who are fucking stupid. Ubisoft can't even get the shit together with games lately. Watch Dogs was bullshit, Assassin's Creed Unity was broken at launch, The Crew is an empty open world, and Far Cry was the only game that succeeded. EA throws out annual sports garbage and rushed out Battlefield 4 just to compete with Call of Duty. I mean shit, EA takes effort to fuck up good games to make sure that people can tell them their better vision of a game is coming in the next year. And Activision poured out Call of Duty and all those music games for years. Oh, and don't pretend like you didn't have a hand in that shit. Oh man, Activision saw Call of Duty like a runaway 12-year-old girl, snatched it up and pimped that asshole out like there was no lube left tomorrow. Meanwhile, you sat there like a paying customer, willing to make a deal to borrow that girl and sell to some unsuspecting fools just to get their rocks off for a few weeks. So you're just as guilty as anyone in that joint. Anyway, because of your money-grubbing ways, Sony had to counter, and they did so with your sloppy seconds at Bungie. Destiny just happened to be Activision's next call girl, ready to hand out blowjobs on street corners, and sure enough, it's a piss-poor game. It's incomplete, it feels like the content was cut for the sake of making more money, and the game just never felt like a AAA game. And I strongly believe Microsoft would have never let that happen. Granted, that means Destiny would have been an exclusive game not available to other consoles, but let's be serious for a second. Does any PlayStation owner feel like this version of the game is a must-buy? Do you feel like if you didn't buy this game, you would be missing out on something good? Of course not. I think we all owe Microsoft a sincere apology. For once in their greedy scumbag existence, they decided against throwing money at a problem. Bungie wanted to be free, they wanted more money, and Microsoft let them go get it. Microsoft seemed to have known that they weren't a talented enough studio on their own, and companies like EA or Activision would just fuck things up. I have to applaud them for that. They made a brilliant move. They let Sony spend money on exclusive marketing for a worthless fucking game. Activision fronted $500 million and pissed it all away in marketing, only to see this game get average to below average reviews and tons of fair and ire over the bullshit this game has. So if anyone out there blames Microsoft for letting Bungie go, you should say sorry. If you laughed at Microsoft for letting Bungie go, you should say sorry. If you bought a PlayStation 4 from a 360 just to be able to play Destiny, you should say sorry. And you should probably curse out Activision while you're at it. Because Activision fooled everyone with this incomplete game, and Bungie tricked everyone into thinking they were a great development studio. I mean, damn. We couldn't have been more wrong about Microsoft. But then again, how did Titanfall work out? Anyways, I think you guys get the point of this video. So as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in the next video.